week, we added a second test to our Cypress tests, the delete contact test. We also added delete functionality to our add contact test so that we could clean up the contact we added. When we were done with those two tests, though, we noticed that we had a lot of repeated code. There's a clean coding principle called DRY. This stands for don't repeat yourself. We don't want to have duplicate lines in our code because if we change something in one place, we might have to change it in duplicate places as well. So this week, we are going to learn how to create Cypress commands. With our Cypress commands, we'll be able to remove our duplicated code from our tests, making them easier to maintain. Let's take a look at our add contact test and our delete contact test. So we can see in our add contact test, we are doing some login on these lines, and then we're adding our contact with all of these lines. In the delete contact, we're doing some login with these lines, and we're doing some adding of the contact with these lines. So what we want to do today is we want to create a method where we're going to log in, and we're going to create a method where we're going to add a contact to save that duplicated code. So let's go to the commands.js file, which you will find under support. We can just leave all these commented out lines just in case you want to refer to them later. They contain some instructions about how to create commands. And let's create our first command. So what we do is we type cypress.commands.add, and then we will name our command. Let's name it login, because that's the one we're going to create first. And then we do a comma, a set of parentheses, and then our arrow function, and then our curly braces. So inside that method is where we will add the instructions for the login command. So now let's go over to our add contact test. And well, what do we need to do to log in? We're going to need to go to the web page. We're going to need to type in the email address. We're going to need to type in the password, and we're going to click the submit button. So let's copy all of those things, and let's put them over in our new login command. Going to adjust our spaces here and save. And so now we have our first login command. Now, before we try it out, there's something I like to do before I make any change to a test that's already passing. And that is, I like to run the test to make sure that it is still really passing. So let's do that. Let's open up our Cypress using npm run test, and we can see our two tests here. And let's run our add contact test to make sure that it's passing. We can see that it's passing up here, so that's a good sign. So now let's make our change. Let's go back to our add contact test, and we're just going to take these lines right here, and we are just going to delete them. And in their place, we're going to add cy.login and save. So now when our test runs, we're going to see that it is going to call the Cypress command, the login command. It will do the steps in the login command, and then it will continue running the add contact test. So let's run that, and we will see what happens. And look at that, the test ran and passed. So now we've just replaced a bunch of lines of code in our test, which saves us space and also saves us from having to change things in more than one place. Except that we still have those login instructions in the delete contact test. So let's do the same thing. We're going to add in the login command into our delete contact test. But before we do, let's run our delete contact test to make sure that it's passing before we make any changes. Okay, that one is running and passing also. So now in our delete contact, we're going to go ahead and delete those 4 lines about logging in, and we will replace them with cy.login. And let's go back to our test, and we'll see if it still passes. And it does. So now we've replaced our login steps in both the add contact test and the delete contact test with that one login command. And so now when we're adding more tests, all we have to do when we log in is just say cy.login and we're good to go. So now let's remove some more duplicated code. So let's look at our add contact test. We can see we've got a lot of steps to add a new contact. We click the Add Contact button, we add in all those fields, and then we click the Submit button to submit the contact. Let's see if we can add a command for that. So we're going to do cypress.commands.add, and let's call this Add Contact. And now we're going to go into the add contact test, and we're just going to copy all of this stuff right here. And we're going to paste it in to this new command right here. Now you may be noticing that we have a problem. And here's what it is right here. Remember that when we're adding a contact, we are including a random number in that first name so that we can distinguish our contact from all of the other many contacts we've added and deleted over this time working with these tests. So we need to find a way to pass in this random number to this add command. And so we're going to do that by passing it in right here. We're going to tell this command that it's expecting a random number to be passed in with the add contact command. So now let's go over to our add contact test and see where we're setting the random number right here. We want to leave that there so that we always have our random number to create our new test user with. But we're going to delete all of this stuff right here. And instead, we're going to say cy.add contact. And then in the parentheses, we're going to pass in the random number. So let's go back to our add contact test and let's see if that worked. Yep, it worked. The test passed. We can see that the contact that we added had a random number associated with it, 271. So we're in good shape there. Let's go over to our delete contact test and we will do the very same thing. And notice in our delete contact test, we're setting a random number right here. So we don't need to worry about where we're getting that random number from. We're going to delete all of this stuff and we're going to type in cy add contact and then pass in that random number. So let's go over to our delete contact test and see if that one still works. Yep, that one still works as well. So now we've removed a lot of lines of code. Look how much shorter our delete contact test is. And our add contact test, well, we still have a lot of assertions. It's still a lot shorter than it was. And now when we go to add other tests, we will be able to use that cy add contact command to just real quick add a contact. All we've got to do is create that random number, pass it in, and it will add a new contact for us. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. So there's something else we have here in these two tests that is duplicated code. You can see right here that at the end of our add contact test, we are deleting the contact. We are also deleting the contact as part of our delete contact test. So my challenge to you is to see if for next week you can create a command about deleting the contact. Thanks for watching this video. If you found my training helpful, please like this video and share it with others. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single lesson. If you're enjoying Monday Morning Automation and you'd like to learn even faster, be sure to check out my book, The Complete Software Tester, which is available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon.com.